I believe the world is beginning to experience these awakenings: a love awakening, grace awakening, joy awakening, peace awakening, a true God awakening to the fact of who God really is. And we are part of that awakening to help people discover the truth as we discover the truth and begin to share that truth and live that truth. So it's important that we embrace these awakenings. And as we embrace them, we can begin to share them. Who are you? That's a question that God had been asking me for a long time. He asked me in various ways over a period of time. To begin with, my answers were always works-based, associated with what I was doing. And a lot of us sort of identify ourselves by what we do rather than who we are. My soul defined my identity, but God was seeking to reveal the true me, but my soul needed to accept that. And that wasn't an easy process by any means. And all of us go through a process and different ways that God begins to reveal, A, who we really are, but B, what hinders us accepting that reality. And there may be many things in each of us that God has to deal with. Each of our souls has created an identity for ourselves using the data collected during our lives, the things that have happened to us, the information that we receive, the programming that we've received by culture, religion, family. All of us have had a programming of some sort. Information has been flowing through our senses from the outside. That has created the need for our soul to survive, to cope, protect itself from the harsh realities of the life we often live. The soul's defense mechanisms are in fact prisons that the soul uses to falsely keep us safe. These prisons stop us knowing the true reality of who we really are. And until the soul surrenders control, and when we do that, that enables us to trust God for his protection, provision, direction, rather than having to do it for ourselves. And it's really hard when you've had to do it yourself to let go of control and allow God to be God. And trusting him is not a simple thing. It may sound simple, well, I trust God, and I would have said implicitly that I trusted God until he challenged what that really meant and what trust really was in my relationship with him. So who am I? That's a question that's the core of most people's psyche. I want to picture a scene. Imagine you're in a boat. You're adrift on a vast ocean. You don't know where you are. You don't know that actually this is an ocean of unconditional love. You've got no sails and no oars. And this is the sort of hopeless position that mankind is seemingly in, not realizing where they actually are and protecting themselves from where they actually are. And this state of despair is a deception. It's an illusion. It's a delusion that fools mankind into trying to navigate on the surface of the ocean of love by self-effort. Now, the answer is to get out of the boat and to sink into the depths of unconditional love, to find out who we really are, to find out who God really is. We're never separated from God as we exist within him. Acts 17:28 says, in him we live and move and exist. Everything, in fact, exists within God, who's created a place within himself for relationship. Separation is therefore an illusion we've created because of our guilt and shame, and that has kept us from intimacy with God and kept us in lost identity. So getting out of the safety of the boat seems counterintuitive to the natural mind, because our natural mind has been conditioned by following the DIY tree independent path. So the question is, who are you? And how are you going to find out who you are? I would suggest you're never going to find out. You won't know who you are if you stay in the boat. And for a lot of us, that boat, even though we don't know where we are and we don't know where we're going and we can't really get there, and whatever we're doing, if we're paddling by our hands, it's a lot of effort. But the reality is it will never give us the truth if we stay in that position of doing it ourselves. So the question, who do you think you are? And if you'd asked me that 10 years ago, I will give you one answer. If you asked me 5 years ago, I'd probably give you a different answer. Today, I'll give you another answer. 30 years ago, I'd have given you a completely different answer. So who do you think you are? Who do others think you are? And that's an important question, because often what other people think can define us if we allow it. Are you defined by other people's opinions of you, or by your own life circumstances? Are you defined and shaped by your past experiences? Now, the answer is yes. Yeah, we can't help that, but we don't have to stay there. Are you who your parents say you are? Are you who your friends say you are? Are you who your boss says you are? Are you who your genetics say you are? The real question is, who does love say you are? Get out of the boat, sink in the vast ocean of love, and surrender and be immersed and saturated in unconditional love. Have a return to first love. That will reveal who we really are. God as love defines us. He defines who you are. So who are you? I would suggest you can only really know through a restored face-to-face love relationship with God, who is Father, Son, and Spirit. And that love relationship is what we all need to discover the truth and to experience the truth. If you enjoy these videos, would you please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe? It really does help. Thank you very much.